You're listening to the Nerd to Know Media Network. Join us at nerdtoknowmedia.com.
Broadcasting from the Blanchardstown Centre, this is Phoenix FM.
This is 92.5 Phoenix FM, community radio for Dublin 15.
Hey everybody, it's JB Jeremy Borash, and you are listening to Darrow O'Connor on the...
Welcome to the Wrestling Rewind, the only wrestling podcast by fans who don't hate wrestling.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is the Wrestling Rewind, and Martin, this is the first real stream that we've done with the new intro and everything.
This is it. This is the stream I will be baptized in.
The one we did stream last night, but it wasn't legit. It wasn't 100% official. This one is, and it's pretty cool. It's like the first Elimination Chamber in Saudi Arabia, and I said, right, we'll go for the full stream on this as well. So thank you very much for everyone who is joining us, and if you're in the chat, let us know and we'll be able to read it out here, where we have the two of us monitoring the chat as well. So first stream, guys, if you're checking us out here on Nerd to Know Media, the WrestlingRewind.com, the True Penny channel, and Phoenix 92.5 FM. My name is Darrow O'Connor. This is the Wrestling Rewind, and I am joined by the one, the only, the reigning, defending, undefeated 1-0, Martin Herty. How are things, Martin?
Never gets old, Darrow.
It never
Run
gets
that
old.
into the ground.
Absolutely.
I want to hear that for the next 5 years.
Well, you've earned it, man. You've earned it.
I did. I stepped into an octagon one time for 2 minutes and 10 seconds, and I'm never going to let anyone forget about it.
Oh, no, do not. Absolutely do not. All right, man. So, look, we are here, obviously, to do the Dan thing and talk about Elimination Chamber 2022.
Yeah, and prior to this, me and Dara had a wee bit of a texty. This isn't the only interaction we have, and
No.
It turns out we have very different views of this. So as much as I'm excited to talk about it, I'm actually really looking forward to hearing what Dara has to say.
It's not, I wouldn't imagine it's wildly different. I enjoyed parts of it that maybe you didn't. And I think that's a fair assessment.
Yes, I think the part you enjoyed that I didn't was the start to the finish.
Now, full disclosure, I didn't see the first match, the Rey Mysterio match. I did, because I don't watch the show.
Yeah, the pre-show. Nah.
Yeah,
WWE told us years ago that the pre-show doesn't matter. So
it doesn't matter.
There you go.
So,
they did put a bit of a sort of video package going over it, and there was a thing with the Miz during the show,
I didn't watch it. So Rey Mysterio with Dominic Mysterio defeated the Miz in 9 minutes. I didn't even know that happened because I started watching it halfway through the Roman Reigns match. So that's basically where I got. So if you guys liked it, let us know what you think. If you didn't, well, I don't know. I don't have an opinion on it. So let's start off with the show. This obviously was from Riyadh in Saudi Arabia. I believe the first show since the pandemic, or maybe they had one beforehand.
Well, we did, I think, the last one. I think we
did do the last one. Yeah, that was the one with the Goldberg Bobby Lashley match. Yeah, that's true. That's very, very true.
And it wasn't dreadful, so everybody thought that, the Saudi shows are good now. And no, you're all very wrong. And they're still just terrible house shows with fireworks.
I think that's unfair. I think it's unfair to have that harsh opinion right now. We'll explain why. Like, look, it had moments that were very house showy. The Saudi Arabia thing. Full disclosure, I actually reached out to James Penny to come on to the show today, and he's like, it would be too hypocritical of me to come on the show because to watch a Saudi Arabia show, and I'm like, that's fair enough. Funny story. Do you know?
I take it, James. So sorry, I'm not au fait with this. I take it James has particularly strong opinions on the Saudi thing.
Well, it's the same with Bryn. One of the reasons why Bryn stopped watching WWE in general is because of the Saudi Arabia thing.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
I understand. I do understand, but I'm also like, it's wrestling. It's WWE. You know, it is what it is. But here's the thing. Did you know that in Germany, the Elimination Chamber is called No Escape?
Oh, this happens quite a lot, particularly in Germany. They have different names for things. For example, Austin Powers, the spy who shagged me in Germany, is the spy who loved me. So
But
do you know is there a reason behind this, or what's the
World War II.
Oh God, yeah. Do you know it clicked with me as I was saying that sentence?
Yeah. So, you know, it's funny that like, well, it's not funny, but it is funny that WWE haven't changed it, where they could just call it something else. Like No Way Out, I thought was a good pay-per-view name, and they could just do that.
Great.
You know, like it's, I don't know. It just seems like it's a bit of an oversight there from WWE. Okay, so this is the first pay-per-view to be held on a Saturday, first like mainline WWE pay-per-view to be held on a Saturday outside of the US, and also the first WWE previously established pay-per-view to take place in Saudi Arabia, and the first pay-per-view to be held on a Saturday in the country as well. So a lot of firsts on this show, a lot of interesting things that happened on the show. And again, I didn't hate it. Now, to be fair, I agree with you to an extent that a lot of it was house show-esque.
Well, I'll tell you what, Dara. I was fairly indifferent to it. I didn't think it was very good, but it was unoffensive. And then something happened that we'll get to that got my blood up.
Right.
That made me hate it. That made me actively hate this whole thing.
Can I just say one good thing, though, about the show? The way the women were presented was really good.
Yeah.
They are actually holding WWE together.
Yeah.
If there's one thing to take away from this show, it's the women are literally holding this company together, which is great, but they're the only ones who are stars except for Brock Lesnar. That's it. No one else is a star here on Roman Reigns. But that's it.
And it's fantastic to see. I think we had this discussion the last time we did a Saudi show. Like, people have mixed feelings about them and all that. But one thing that really does come across is when you see young girls in the audience and they're looking up at women wrestling, like there's a genuine admiration, sort of sense of awe and admiration there, and that does feel like it's something that's genuinely positive.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like, and it's worth it. Like, if you compare the first Saudi show with women on it, where they were completely covered up and people threw bottles at them and stuff, now they're holding the show together. They're getting the biggest cheers. There's chants, and even the way they're wrestling, they're still wearing those kind of bodysuits. But to be fair, they're not
Can we talk for 1 second about the bodysuits, right? So I know the point behind them. Go on ahead.
But 1 second. The bodysuits, even to them, like, they kind of work a little bit better with a few wrestlers. Like, for example, Rhea Ripley? That just looks like something she'd wear. So at least now they're actually, there's a fair bit of leeway with what they're wearing. Sorry, go on, I'll let you go.
No, not at all. I'm very ignorant in terms of podcast etiquette. So the thing with the bodysuits that got me was, so the reason they're wearing them obviously is because in Saudi Arabia sexiness is illegal. You can't be doing that. But my God, some of them bodysuits were more revealing than any skirt or top or boob tube or whatever could be. Liv Morgan's was practically just painted on.
Yeah. But see, I think, Dave, they're like, right, well, if these are the parameters we're going to work in, we're actually going to push it as far as we can and then go a bit further. And, I have to hand it to them. They have more balls than than the men on the show in a lot of ways as well, where it's just like, they really do. They stuck very much to the letter of the Saudi law, if not the actual spirit. We have to cover up, do we? Well,
all right.
You didn't
paint
say
is technically cover.
Yeah, But no, it is cool to see in that sense that the women are really just kind of like, we're going to go off and pull it. And like a lot of the things that I really enjoyed on this show were the women's segments. The female elimination chamber was okay. Bianca Belair winning is okay. I really like the Naomi Ronda Rousey. I think Naomi has my favorite entrance in WWE. I love Naomi. I think she's great.
That literally down here I have in my notes, just in capital letters, is why don't WWE use Naomi?
Right?
She's only in that thing for a couple of minutes, and she's amazing.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm just like the whole time. I think the Bianca
Why
Belair.
aren't they using her?
The Bianca Belair slot. Now, I know people are fans of her and whatever, and I think that's fair, and I can see why, right? But Naomi is actually would be better there. Her entrance is actually unreal, and it gets everyone into it and the hype, and then she's actually really good in the ring too. So
she's outstanding in the ring.
I think WWE really need to have kind of a review of how they're using and who they're using. Because for me, I'm like, nah, man, it's a wasted opportunity at this point. It really is.
I was genuinely blown away by Naomi because I don't see much of her, because I don't watch WWE Weekly. Like I only watch what we sort of review, and then they barely, even on those shows that we do watch, they barely use her.
Yeah.
So she was an absolute revelation, a star in this. Talk about maximizing your minutes. And in a nothing tag team match that was just plonked in the middle of the show, she was terrific.
She was, and I would say if you didn't get a chance to see the show, I think there are worse things you could watch than Naomi. She's for me MVP of the night in a lot of ways, but also just a really, really cool competitor. Just a really she's great look. The entrance is WWE star making, and again, sorry for some problems there with the stream. Again, we are just trying this out for the first time, so there are gonna be some hiccups. Apologies. But yeah, look, I would say I know why she was there. She was there obviously to be a foil for Ronda to help get her over a little bit. But she did the job, and a lot better than Charlotte Flair, who I just instant go away. This is mad. It's like, you've seen my notes. So directly underneath, why don't they use Naomi? I have, what happened to Charlotte Flair? Yeah, right. Charlotte Flair used to be amazing. Yeah, I don't know what. Like, it's just, I think it's just a case of even Charlotte Flair is fed up of being Charlotte Flair. It's very much what I got from her was, I just don't care. Yeah, no, that's fair, and particularly when you're watching this show again, and you're trying to figure out, right, well, the women are at WWE at this point. Like, I'm sorry, nothing's going to convince me otherwise. The women in WWE are the only reason to watch the show, and Bianca Belair at the top spot, fair enough. I think she can get the best out of Rhea Ripley, and also girls like Naomi and that. But Charlotte Flair shouldn't be anywhere near that top spot anymore. No. Unless what I can see her being in the top spot, because she's currently the champion, is as a seasoned, kind of well-positioned veteran, for her to put someone over and then go elsewhere. Well, here's the thing. It's going to be a weird phrasing, but use her like The Undertaker, where she doesn't have the belt, but she's in the top spot. Yeah. And she doesn't necessarily have to win all the time. Or kind of like the way CM Punk's positioned in AEW, where he's legitimately the top guy, but not the top guy, if that makes sense. Yeah. Well, I mean, like, let's not derail this into an AEW thing, because if you do that, I will run with it. No. But what I mean is, like, I think that's a good comparison for her. That's a good position, because then you're able to actually, she isn't hogging the belt. The belt isn't, like, for example, Becky Lynch is a phenomenal champion.
Yeah.
That match you had with Lita was very good. The story they were telling was really, really good. And I'm like, okay, whoever wins here, we win, right? I can't say that with Charlotte Flair. If Charlotte Flair had been in that position tonight and she was against Lita, I would have been annoyed that Charlotte had won. And that's not what you want when you're.
Yeah, I mean the match with Becky. I mean, obviously we'll do our proper match by match review. But it was a bit botchy. It was a bit stilted. But overall, I think it was one of the matches of the night that I enjoyed more than others.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. And look, this wasn't a high class show. It wasn't a high caliber show. To be fair, if you guys were watching the stream last night, we covered WCW Bash at the Beach 2000. That was a better show than this. And I mean, and I mean that with all sincerity in my heart. It genuinely was. And I think it's for the reasons that we're going to get into. This really felt like, as you said, it was very house showy. It was very committal. The February pay-per-view that WWE do has always kind of been just kind of there.
I don't get the point of it. Like, it's so often it seems to actually hamper the momentum going into WrestleMania. In fact, I think the one that they used to have before WrestleMania used to be called Roadblock, and that actually made sense because it did actually slow down the run into Mania.
Well, the next show they have, according to Wikipedia, is Stand and Deliver. And I don't know what that is. But
I think that's NXT.
Is it NXT? Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
I'm surprised they're giving NXT 2.0 pay-per-views.
Yeah, well, they haven't...
Premium live events.
Well, they haven't said yet because it's still TBD. So, also, that is the most annoying thing that I've heard in a long time. Premium live event. What? Why? Just call it what it is. Like,
I need to see like a 4,000 page in-depth biography or like a 10-part film about the mind of Vince McMahon. I do not understand the issues he has, the things that he picks up on, that he says this cannot stand. You know, like he obviously takes issues with certain words and, you know, title and strap and belt and wrestler. He obviously doesn't like wrestler. But the fact that pay-per-view was an issue for him, because it's transcended the obvious, like the literal meaning of pay-per-view. It doesn't mean that anymore. It just means a big event.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, the only place pay-per-view actually means anything, I think, is AEW, because you still pay for it. Or unless you have the Fight app or something, right? I know with
even
TNA,
if you have the Fight app, you just don't have to pay $50.
Yeah, so like at least it makes sense there. With TNA or Impact, it's included with the Impact app, so it's like, but look, it's there for a reason. But oh man, when Michael Cole said it, I was just like,
it's so forced. It's so phony.
Forced, yeah.
It's so WWE language. It's right up there with local medical facility, box-like structure.
Box.
It just doesn't talk like a human.
Yeah.
He talks like an alien who learned English from technical manuals.
Yeah. It's not. I don't know. I didn't find the commentary team that offensive today. There were some really stupid parts of it. The JBL comment was annoying, where like I got a text from JBL. It's like, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. These are not things that happened. Stop. Just please. This is awful. But no, I wasn't like as offended watching the show as I normally would. And I think it's like, the thing about the Saudi shows is at least the booking is going to make sense, because they have to, right? Like the Saudi prince obviously has some kind of overview on this show, and he wants it to for the people at least to go away somewhat happy. And that's why I don't mind watching them, because I'm like, they're not the worst show in the world. They're not the most offensive thing in the world. You know, they just know what they are.
I assume the Saudi Prince was yet again disappointed, because another WWE Saudi show, and despite his requests, another show that Yokozuna hasn't appeared on.
Or the Ultimate Warrior. Yeah.
Or Bruno Sammartino.
Oh, man. But we were close. Our first match of the night, real match of the night, had Goldberg in it. Going against Roman Reigns in a 6-minute match. Now, to be fair, this is when I started watching the show, And I was like, well, we're starting off with the Universal title. So obviously Roman Reigns and Goldberg wanted an early night, so fair play. I thought, to be fair, I thought it was a good way to get the crowd into it, and they were. And they went hell for leather. There were some good spots in this. Overall, it wasn't the best match in the world. It was a really good Goldberg match, which again is not saying much. But I don't think Goldberg can do another match. I think this is probably it.
I think he's done.
Yeah.
You know what? I thought the best use ever of Goldberg was that feud he had with Dolph Ziggler. So
Yes.
someone who he doesn't have to wrestle, who he can show up and spear and spear and spear, and obviously the jackhammer's out the window now. That's not happening anymore.
Yeah.
But spear and spear and spear and do the brah thing. So before I even talk about this match, one thing that was like a constant throughout this whole show was the pay-per-view started and it was 20 goddamn minutes before the bell rang for this match.
Now
So
that's
we
the thing.
had-
I actually watched it late, as I was watching this. I tuned in at 5:30 our time, so it started at 5 p.m. And I'm like, geez, I must have missed something. And it's like, no, the match was on. I was like, all right. So
It was video package, advertisement, video package, Roman Reigns' 10-minute entrance, Goldberg's 10-minute entrance, big face-off stuff, and then the match started. And this kept going the whole way through the night. So by the time the women's Elimination Chamber match started, the show had been on for more than 40 minutes, and we had 6 minutes of wrestling. And it like I was struck by it. I was like, I've been sitting watching this thing now for almost 3/4 of an hour, and I've seen one fairly short match. And I actually looked it up at the end. So it was a 3.5 hour pay-per-view.
yeah.
It had 62 minutes of wrestling on it.
Oh. We've been spoiled by watching WCW. That's the truth of it. That's why it's so weird. Because
It might be
WCW at least has wrestling,
It might be terrible wrestling, but
but
it's
it's
wrestling.
there. But you get a lot of it. And that's what it is, man. Like, WWE does everything except wrestling. And now, to be fair, I like some of the video package throughout the night. Some of them were quite cool, but then some of them were just random. Like, random. The one that was very weird was Seth Rollins. Just a random Seth Rollins video package.
Out of nowhere.
Why?
Yeah.
And it was his face as well. It's like, are we meant to cheer him because he's not winning tonight?
Oh my God, Dara, you are in my mind. I literally have down the first note I have from the men's Elimination Chamber is Rollins a heel?
Yeah, I didn't know. And the video package made it so much weirder because you're like, are we supposed to cheer him? Because that video package suggested
And
to
then
me he's
last
winning.
month he was presented very much as kind of the fighting underdog against Roman.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, he is possibly the single most unlikable person I have ever encountered.
Yeah. So I don't know. Like, it didn't make any sense. I don't know what WWE were trying to do. I don't know what they were. But you know what this probably was? Now, as someone who edits shows, sometimes you run out of time, particularly when you're on networks and you need to fill time. And you run ads. And you just have a bank of ads. And I think they just needed to fill time. So they were like, what do we have? We have this Seth Rollins package. Let's run that.
Yep.
And that's what it felt like.
Let's run the ads for the new T-shirts. Let's run them again.
Yeah.
Or let's run the bloody WrestleMania ad. By the way, that ad came up 3 times, and I don't know who their marketing team is, but stupendous. It's
God.
just a word. It's not.
You know what? When
it's not a selling point.
when
They need to get rid of all of them.
When they kept saying it, I'm like, is this coming to England?
WrestleMania is spiffing.
Yeah, and I was just like, it feels weird, and I was just like, oh, I hate this. And it's like, no, this is just, it's happening in Dallas or something. It's like, what? Why? What are you doing? Crazy.
Stupendous, magnificent. It's like they just went on to like thesaurus.com and typed in good. I was like, this is our WrestleMania marketing campaign. all the synonyms for good. Ugh.
But well, sure, look, this is what they've done. Last year WrestleMania was box-like structure, so Stupendous has replaced it.
Although the best, what I will give them is, I did like the wee cheeky, stupendous, brilliant, magnificent, awe-inspiring, breathtaking, dynamite, excellent, wonderful.
Yeah, that was fun.
I love that they threw in dynamite, you know.
Well, speaking of which, there was a rumor going around with no credibility, and I don't think anyone had any credibility on this, that Cody Rhodes was going to be backstage, or that he was backstage, or in fact that he was going to be in the Elimination Chamber this year.
Well, I'll tell you what. When they carted out Bobby Lashley for no goddamn reason whatsoever, I did think that was, I was sitting there going, is this Cody's debut in Saudi Arabia?
Yeah, but here's the thing. If I do believe if this had been on US soil, probably.
It was so strange. Well, look, we'll get to
it. We'll get to it.
But, the main event.
Okay, so look, Roman Reigns still your champion. I do think Goldberg is done. I did like the finish, the guillotine. I mean, it was creative. Goldberg looked really good, particularly the exchange that led up to it. One thing that was marked about this night was that matches just ended. It happened twice specifically where the match was like, okay, they've done their finish, we're going up to it, there's a kick out, and then the match ends. The first time this happened was during this match where Roman Reigns was beaten and then he managed to get the guillotine choke and it worked, and that was kind of it, right? And the next one I'll highlight when it happens. But it was 6 minutes. It should have been about 10 to 14. But then again, it's Goldberg. We were lucky with what we got.
I did not like this match.
I totally do not blame you for that.
I like let me say I entirely understand. Goldberg's 52. Goldberg is never a good wrestler in his prime, and now at 52, you know. But man, this was punch kick, spear, Superman punch, spear, Superman punch, try the jackhammer into the choke.
But that's it. It's a Goldberg match. You know, if it had been anything more, it would have been him.
But here's the thing: WWE can agent really good, or not even good matches, but thrilling matches from, you know, underwhelming performers. So the main one I'm thinking of is the Hulk Hogan Ultimate Warrior WrestleMania 6. Like, neither of those are great wrestlers. But that match I thought was agented quite well. Like, they built it quite well. Like, it was a lot of spots that wouldn't go over well nowadays, you know, like in terms of the bend the fingers and the bear hug and all that. But the match did what it needed to do, and it built a certain level of drama. This match was punch kick, couple of moves, and then, like you say, it just sort of limped to an anemic nothing end. Yeah.
And it was to build up, like, they started planting the seeds of where they go, where, you know, Brock Lesnar is facing Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, and they started planting the seeds of the overall storyline. So you kind of knew what was going to happen from the first match.
Yeah. Well, what I will say about Mania is that Roman Reigns hasn't a chance. Roman Reigns struggled against a 52-year-old man, and Brock Lesnar murdered 5 people.
Single-handedly.
Just on his own.
Yeah. There's no way. Like, there's no way.
There's nothing. There's no other possible outcome now.
No.
If Brock Lesnar loses to Roman Reigns, it's the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah. Like, Brock Lesnar not only won the Royal Rumble, basically, you know, he could have been there and beat them all himself. Yeah. But he also won the Elimination Chamber. He also beat the Elimination Chamber structure itself.
He has a goddamn already has a main event match at WrestleMania.
He just went and did it for
the
fun.
Elimination Chamber as well.
Yeah, for fun. Why not?
He's awesome. He's amazing. And the way he was interacting with people and his wee jokes and stuff, like, he seems like he's great crack.
No, one of my favorite bit of the whole thing was when he had beaten the hell out of Austin Theory, and he does a fake selfie with him.
Yeah.
That was brilliant.
He's great. Like, I came out of this really loving Brock Lesnar, but also thinking they have literally nobody else. Like,
no, we'll get to it. We'll hold on to it for a second
okay,
because
sorry,
it is.
apologies.
It is no, it's okay. There is a lot to talk about. Right, Bianca Belair defeated Alexa Bliss, Doudrop, Liv Morgan, Nikki Ash, and Rhea Ripley for the Raw Women's Championship. I was so upset by this because I think Rhea should have been champion. She's a much better champion.
Really?
But also Alexa Bliss and Liv Morgan look exactly the same.
We have such bizarre perspectives.
They look exactly. I'm like, and I love Alexa Bliss, but I'm like, they've just morphed Liv Morgan to look like her. It's like, what is this? So look, it was 15 minutes of kind of nothing. It could have been a lot more. Okay, I'm gonna let you talk a bit because we have different thoughts on this. So, how did you see this? Did you think it was good, bad, and different?
So I very much saw this as a chamber of two halves. It was dreadful.
It was
up until Alexa Bliss came out, and Alexa Bliss came out and she was on fire.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh, brilliant! There's a wrestler in the ring now. And it's
so true.
It's fantastic to see her getting to wrestle again, because for the past 2 years she hasn't gotten to wrestle. She's had to skip around the ring and throw douilles at Randy Orton and whatever else. And
come out of box-like structures.
So thought Alexa Bliss was great. Thought Bianca Belair was great. Once Alexa Bliss came out, this was a much better match. And Bianca Belair was great as well. But up until Alexa came out of that chamber, this thing was dreadful. He finished.
Like, obviously they had to do the Elimination Chamber. This is the problem with doing. To be fair, the Elimination Chamber is the only pay-per-view gimmick match where it isn't hurt by being a pay-per-view gimmick match. Like, it makes sense. You can do the Elimination Chamber and it's like, right, we know it's going to be at this time, and it's like the Royal Rumble. It's Teflon in that sense. But but it also means that when it's bad, it is bad, and they should have had something. Again, Bianca Belair, she's not the right champion here. She's much better when she's chasing. How I would have booked this is Rhea Ripley winning. That was her storyline. Because again, a commentator all like, she took it 2 years ago. She showed up on Raw. She wanted the belt. She'd have her win. And then you can have Bianca Belair get the big victory at WrestleMania. Well, that's what I would have done.
I don't know if it's the booking. I don't know if it's the way WWE does things. But see, when the entrances started and Rhea Ripley came out, I would have 100% agreed with you. And when the actual match started, I was not at all impressed by anything Rhea Ripley did.
That's fair too.
And when Alexa came out, and this is despite the fact that her goddamn chamber had a bloody swing in it. When Alexa came out, I was like I said, finally, there's a bloody wrestler in the ring now. I thought she was great. I thought she was fire. I thought she was an absolute level above everyone else in the ring. Everyone else in the ring was very training center, power plant, whatever.
Right. Doudrop, Liv Morgan, and Nikki Ash. They have no real storyline at the moment. There's nowhere for them to go. They're just kind of there. Yeah. Rhea Ripley has a story, and I agree, she's nowhere near Alexa Bliss. They could have done shenanigans, but then again, in Saudi Arabia, you can't really do shenanigans. There has to be a finish. I'd be interested now to see where this goes. Alexa, Rhea, and Bianca. There's your WrestleMania. There's a strong WrestleMania main event there, but I don't think they're going to go there. They're still probably going to do something. Well, obviously Becky and has to go do something as well with Charlotte, and there's the whole Ronda Rousey thing. But
can I ask you something, Dara?
Yeah.
So do you remember last night we were talking? Last night to me and you, obviously to listeners, it'll depend on when you're listening to this. But do you remember we were talking about the Kiss Demon?
Yes.
And how he was guaranteed a main event, but the main event was like the third match on the card or whatever. They just come out and said it was the main event.
Mm.
Am I getting something wrong? During this Elimination Chamber, they said that the winner of this match will get a main event at WrestleMania. Now,
Correct.
They have a men's Royal Rumble who gets the main event at WrestleMania, and there's a women's Royal Rumble who gets the main event at WrestleMania. Fair enough. There's 2 nights of WrestleMania, and now there's the Chamber, and somebody else gets a main event at WrestleMania.
Right.
Is this going to be like a Kiss Demon main event? Like
It depends who it is.
Your
Like, look,
pre-show main event.
so look, if it's Bianca Belair and she doesn't have a storyline with someone, it might as well be a main event like that. But I don't know what WWE are doing. Again, the only reason to watch WWE now is the women's division, because that's the only thing where something's happening, and nothing sums that up more than the Drew McIntyre match, what happened 2 matches later on. So look, we'll move on. Talk about the tag team match. I was really impressed by Naomi. I think Naomi is the future of your women's division, WWE. She is brilliant. I really like Ronda Rousey coming out in the gi. I thought that was cool.
Ronda, that's the other thing I want to say. Ronda was bloody great.
She's brilliant. She's so much better than she was at the Rumble as well, which was a really great surprise.
And it really brings into focus just how goddamn... I'm changing my words here so I don't swear. So goddamn awful fans were to her for no bloody reason.
Yeah. No, it sucks. Like, look, as I said, Naomi and Ronda, they're your two faces. Put a rocket on them, go to the moon, because they're just brilliant. They're just brilliant.
When they announced in this match, when they announced the hand tie thing, like Ronda's going to have a hand tied behind her back, I said, what idiotic nonsense is this?
It worked.
She worked it.
Yeah, she did. She did great.
She did some great spots. Right, there was a couple of flubs, a couple of botches, but nothing. No flubs or botches that didn't happen to other wrestlers throughout the show who didn't have a goddamn hand tied behind their back.
Yeah.
So
Ronda
was great.
But you know what Ronda is? I'm getting a lot of Stone Cold Steve Austin 1999 energy from this feud.
Yeah.
That's what this feels like. It feels like Charlotte Flair is The Rock, Sonya Deville is Vince McMahon, and that's kind of what it feels like. Like, go back and watch some of those shows from 1990, and they're booking her that way. But then again, like, the low point here was when Drew McIntyre and Madcap Moss came out, and that was 9 minutes of garbage.
Oh my god!
And it's like, how can you book the women so well by just letting them go out and tell stories, even the ones that don't have stories, and then you have this Drew McIntyre and Madcap Moss nonsense, which was dire.
Well, if you're going to do a gimmick it. Like, if there's one thing we've learned from AEW, and Revolution is coming up the week after next, I cannot wait for it. We all know what the previous Revolution, was an amazing show that ended with a fart. Do not promise something you can't deliver. So before this match started, again, there was another lengthy period of video packages, and Drew McIntyre was going, it's false count anywhere. I might bait you in the desert. I might drown you in the Red Sea. And then, no, he just stopped him up the ramp a wee bit, and then they went back to the ring.
Yeah. It was so flat and so pointless, and it's like, we've seen a good fall count in our match from Bobby Lashley and Goldberg. If you're having a worse match than Bobby Lashley and Goldberg, you should probably rethink it.
And everything about Madcap Moss and Happy Corbin, and it's dragging Drew McIntyre down, because everything about this screams Raw mid-card.
Yeah.
Raw mid-card. Not even a Raw main event.
No, mid-card. Solid IC title reject.
Yeah. And we need to do a separate show. Just what you've said there. We need to do a separate show on what they have done to the IC and the US titles.
They weren't even defended. They weren't even. I don't even think they made an appearance. I don't even think they made an appearance.
And we're going to get into it, because do you remember I mentioned earlier a thing that made me go from this show was to I actively hated it.
Right.
It's the tag team thing. We'll get to it.
No, we will get to that. That is horrendous.
My God, if WWE are so bloody eager to show you that they do not care about anything less than their four world titles.
Yeah. Becky Lynch and Lita had probably matched the night for me. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Becky Lynch is a great champion, looks like a star. Biggest star of the company, except for Brock Lesnar, but Brock Lesnar's basically the only one they have. Lita was great. She looked like, they said 2004, rewind the clock. She did. They had me going. I was like, they might actually give her the belt, which would be cool. They didn't, which sucked, but I was still very happy with this. Lita looked great. Becky looked great. Fantastic match. Match of the night for me. Fair play to the ladies. They absolutely killed it. It's worth watching the show solely for that match.
Yeah, definitely. I maybe wouldn't be as effusive in my praise. I thought it was a wee bit botchy. I thought the finish was just another, like you talked about earlier, just like a dud, nothing finish.
That was the second time that happened, where it was just
out of nowhere.
Yeah, out of nowhere. It just ended. That would make it lose some points. You are correct.
Yeah. But like you say, Lita is like one of the legends, hasn't been in the ring in a good while. I thought she did great. Thought Becky did great. Calling it the match of the night, from my perspective on this card, isn't particular praise or anything, but it definitely was. They did a hell of a job. They had a difficult task. They did a hell of a job. I think Becky, as much as I love her, and the only WWE t-shirt that I own is the image of Becky bleeding.
Right.
And so I love Becky. I think maybe she could tone down the Roman Reigns monologuing the whole way through our match.
Yeah, there was a lot of it.
And the big pin. Shocked face. I can't believe she kicked out. Jesus. But apart from that, Becky's amazing. Lita did a hell of a job. And I completely agree with you. I think this was the match of the night.
So we went from the match of the night to an absolute train wreck. I don't know how to start on this. I'm going to give you the floor, Martin, and explain what happened here, because this was just a cluster.
I love War Machine.
Yes.
I have always loved War Machine. I saw them in NXT, and it made me, I love them so much, it made me Google them and go back, and I watched their New Japan stuff, and I watched their Ring of Honor stuff. I really bloody love War Machine, and it broke my God. One of the many, many reasons I loathe WWE. It broke my damn heart what the main roster did with War Machine. And I mean, even beyond, obviously the Viking experience nonsense, beyond just the silly name, the cartoonified and PG'd these genuinely terrifying, genuinely intense, huge guys. And then this match started. War Machine came out, and I'm like, do you know? Well, okay, so obviously they're called the Viking Raiders now, even though that feels dirty in my mouth to say.
It's better than the Viking experience.
It is better than the Viking experience. But Dara, if I told you I was either going to take a dump or a slash in your mouth, I mean, one of them's less worse than the other, but ideally.
Yeah, they're both. Ideally, you'd want neither, yeah.
You'd rather have neither. But anyway, they came out, and I did my usual thing. I looked at them, and I was like, oh, it makes me so sad what WWE have done with War Machine. But then I thought, hey, it's a big pay-per-view. They're actually here. They're coming out for the titles. They're actually getting showcased. They're actually going to have a match. This is, grading on a curve. This is pretty good. It's good to see them. It's good to see tag team wrestling happen. And then the Usos jumped them, and then they did a suplex. These guys, like I said, if you're a fan, the amount of abuse you've seen them take is unreal. They did a suplex, and the referee came out and called the match off before it even started. And this was it. This was where I went from, this is boring. It's fine. It's inoffensive. It's kind of nothing, to hate this. I hate everyone involved in this. I want this to die. Screaming.
Fair. No, look, as I said, I went off to get some food, and I came back and the match was over. And I'm like, wait, what happened?
Match wasn't over, Dara. Match has to start for it to be over.
Because they were raking their entrance. They were raking the way down the ring. And I was like, right, I'll go get some food real quick and come back. And then I'm like, wait, what? So I actually rewinded the stream to watch it again, and I couldn't believe that's what happened. And this is the only real shenanigans that I've seen on these pay-per-views in Saudi. But again, it's a WWE mainline pay-per-view, so of course there was going to be shenanigans.
Here's what I don't get. Why even book this? Like, if you don't want tag team wrestling, if you don't have time, if you don't want the tag titles, you didn't have the Raw tag titles, you didn't have the US, you didn't have the Intercontinental, you didn't have the 205, although we know 205's gone now. Like, you didn't have the 24/7. Like, you could just easily not have done this. Why go out of your way to belittle this amazing team you have?
I think it could have been anyone. They could have done it to anyone. It just so happened that the lads wanted to make the trip over.
Well, I hope they got paid. I hope they got
they did.
Massive. I hope they
did. Everyone got a
massive
payday.
Payoff.
Absolute massive payday. So
yeah,
it is what it is. You can't feel too sad for them, but it is annoying.
And like we see these things sometimes when wrestling fans get, upset or annoyed on behalf of a talent, and the talent's probably happy enough. The talent's got, I didn't get injured, I didn't have to do a match, I got big money, and basically I just had to go out in front of the crowd and wave around. So I'm not annoyed on their behalf. I'm sure they as individuals are very happy. I'm annoyed on my behalf. Fair. I loved War Machine. Yeah. I think War Machine have an amazing legacy. And every goddamn time I see them on WWE, I see that legacy be stripped and stripped and stripped away. And it's at the point now where the only wrestlers I actually want, so we have all this Forbidden Door stuff and blah, blah, blah. The only wrestlers I actually want to see come from WWE to AEW is Walter. Walter's the only one I want to see. It used to be Walter and War Machine, and every goddamn time War Machine come out, their mystique, their energy, their impact, it just diminishes and diminishes and diminishes. And they're doing the goddamn same with Walter. And I just want it to stop.
Look, it'll happen eventually. But look, we went from that, the low point of the show, to what was surprisingly the highlight of the show. Now, look, Brock Lesnar, Bobby Lashley, AJ Styles, Austin Theory, Riddle, and Seth freaking Rollins. Elimination Chamber match for the WWE Championship. 15 minutes. If you ever wanted to see a man solely beat the Elimination Chamber by himself, you saw it tonight. Now, it also, look, it's very rare watching wrestling now that I get to, oh my God, that's a crazy spot. When Brock Lesnar nearly killed Austin Theory, I was like, oh, well, that's something else. So I enjoyed this a great deal. And I know all the reasons not to enjoy it. That, yeah, it's Brock Lesnar, who's a part-timer, coming in and killing basically the entire top crust of WWE. But I really enjoyed it. And I love Brock Lesnar. So I'm like, I was happy that this happened. But also, it was weird that Bobby Lashley just got a concussion from nothing. And then halfway through Brock Lesnar killing Riddle, I think it was Riddle, it was Riddle, wasn't it? Or was it
yeah. And, both, but
yeah, within the space of like a second, it happened to both of them. And then they're like, oh wait, Bobby Lashley can't compete, so it is going to be a new champion. And it was weird, man. It was like, what's the point of even having this match? Because it was a match until Brock Lesnar showed up, and then it was like the Rumble where he just bulldozed everyone.
Like, yeah, so there's two ways of viewing this. If you are just viewing this entirely objectively as a viewer, which is probably the way you should view wrestling like that. I mean,
Yeah, it's a
maybe
show.
like fans like us get far too into it and we look ahead and we go, oh, where's this going? Where's that going? And we like know all the background stuff. And yeah, so maybe we get too into it. If you just view this objectively, singularly as a match, this was great.
Yeah.
This was a good match. And then Brock Lesnar come out, and then it was the Brock Lesnar parade, which is awesome because he's terrifying. He's amazing. He's unstoppable. Like if you're just viewing this as a fan, I have no complaints with this whatsoever. The problem comes when you start looking into some of the detail of it. So the first thing I'd say is, as we said earlier, what the hell is Seth Rollins? Is he heel? Is he face? Is he... I don't know. I just know they keep presenting him as one thing, and every time I see him, I think he's the most unlikable person I've ever not met. The Lashley thing was right up there with War Machine. War Machine.
I didn't catch it. What actually happened?
So War Machine were so horrifically injured by a suplex that the match had to be called off. One of them, I can't even remember who it was. One of them power bombed Austin Theory through the wall into Lashley's chamber, and apparently that knocked him out.
No way.
Bobby Lashley, who they had previously, before this match, they did a 3-minute video package on how tough
he was, legit,
amazing he is. And then someone gets power bombed, not even into him, into the wall, and then the wall breaks, and then they fall on him.
Well, you know what, Martin? I figured this out. So from my journalistic experience of talking with Bobby Lashley and interviewing Bobby Lashley and knowing Bobby Lashley, I know what happened here.
Go on.
He had a golf game to get to.
Is Bobby Lashley a golfer?
Bobby Lashley is the biggest golfer ever. I remember I interviewed him one time for TNA, and I was asking him, so who are you going to wrestle tonight? You know, who are you excited? Because he didn't tell us who it was. And he goes, well, I don't really know. I'm just excited to play golf.
Folks, this is why you listen to the Wrestling Rewind, because we have the scoop.
This is true, folks. Mr. Golf, Bobby Lashley, that's all he likes to do. That's what the video package didn't show. He loves playing golf. So
I would say
must have some great golf courses. So he was like, lads, you guys can do what you want. I'm just going to go play golf. So that is what actually happened, folks. I would put money on it that right now he is off playing a couple of rounds of golf in Jeddah somewhere. That's what he's doing.
And again, if we're talking about Bobby Lashley, the person, I'm sure he couldn't be happier.
Oh, yeah,
he got a big
absolutely.
payday for doing nothing.
No.
He's off playing his golf. But
he's happy.
If you're looking at it from the perspective of a fan, this, like I say, everything is skewed since the War Machine stuff, because that just pissed me right off. So I was in a bad mood, and this just escalated things. I was so annoyed by how did they build him up so much, and then he was concussed by and the worst part was they showed the replay. Like Austin Theory lands on like his knee.
Yeah. It's like, oh, that's
like, oh my God, we've heard back from our concussion expert that Bobby Lashley has a concussion.
Now, to be fair, since
Get the goddamn hell off my television.
Well, they wouldn't use a medical facility or something like that, or EMTs, but then they start invoking concussions, and I'm like, man, concussions aren't fun. I've had enough of them. They're not fun. But it's like, if you're going to invoke something, you probably shouldn't mess around with that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
Although if you are going to invoke it, do something to invoke it. Like,
they should have attacked him on the way to the ring.
Attack him on the way to the ring.
Backstage, where you don't show what happened to him.
Throw him off something like, oh, but you can't see where he lands, or some, hit him in the head with something that you've gimmicked, Yeah. But this...
Get Vampiro out to hit him with a tombstone. that breaks up.
But this
Who's
was
that? It's Vampiro.
this was utter. So as soon as that happened, I was like, oh my God, this is more 50-50 booking. Nobody can ever really lose.
Yeah.
So Bobby Lashley and Brock have faced each other twice now, and there's been no outcome. So Bobby won because Roman Reigns intervened. Brock won because Bobby Lashley, a small man, fell on his knee and he got a concussion, because as all biologists know, the greater part of the brain is in the knee.
Absolutely.
I hated it. And this would have made me go, oh, bloody WWE. But after the War Machine thing, I was violently hostile to this.
I wasn't too upset by it because, again, from knowing what I know about Bobby Lashley, he doesn't care. He just wants to play golf. That's his thing. Yeah. So I'm like, all right, this is not out of character for him. It was stupid, and I would have done it 100 million different ways. Yeah. But the fact that Brock Lesnar then went out and massacred all these lads, and I was legit scared for Austin Theory. He
landed very safe. He basically landed on his feet.
I know, but I'm just like, whoa, that's a wild spot,
I'm not for one sec diminishing that. That was a terrifying move to take, but he did it as well as it could be done.
He did, and that's what he was there for. He was there to take that. He was there to get to. I enjoyed the way he was trying to escape I've never seen someone try to escape the Elimination Chamber before, so I was like, oh, that's cool. That's something I haven't seen before.
It amazes me that to this day, the Elimination Chamber, nobody's gotten out of it, and the match has gone on top of it. And nowadays,
chains there's nowhere to really walk on it. It's not like the Hell in a Cell.
You could, go on along the chains or whatever. I'm not saying they should. I'm just saying that it amazes me that they haven't. Given that if you see a Hell in a Cell match now where they don't get on top of the cell, it's almost like a waste of time.
Well, Hell in a Cell has been matched in a cage for a while.
Yeah.
At least Elimination Chamber still has some kind of aura. And look, I would not say it's one of my favorite Elimination Chamber matches, because it's not, but it is one of the best again, it goes opposite of what you'd normally think. Brock Lesnar winning the match single-handedly by himself in 2 minutes isn't very exciting when you say it, but when you watch it, you're like, that was really good. That was really good. That was really, really, really well done. So look, I would say overall, in the time we have left, because we haven't got that much left, I would say, look, this show ranks below Bass at the Beach 2000, which is crazy to say. But what was good was real good. What was bad was incomprehensible.
Yeah, I think Dara's been a lot kinder to this than I would. I would say that the Elimination Chamber, they're going to have to. I actually like it. I think you actually made a really good point earlier, where you said it's a lot like the Royal Rumble in that it's an appointed fixture.
Yeah,
it's not it doesn't suffer from the thing like Hell in a Cell does, where Hell in a Cell is supposed to be the end of a blood feud.
Yeah, and
you take all the kind of piss and vinegar out of it if you make it just like an annual thing. So that didn't bother me. It annoys me that they put mats down. It's supposed to be this career-ending thing. I don't want to see wrestlers taking bumps on steel, but you have made the stipulation, so you can't make the stipulation and then put bloody mats down.
Yeah, no, I agree there. What would you give it? What would you give it on a letter grade though? Would you go as low as Bass at the Beach, or would you?
Oh, D.
Really? Oh, okay, that makes sense. I would be a bit more. I would give it a C.
Yeah, Dara, I hated this. I thought up until the thing that happened with War Machine, I thought it was dull, uninspiring, largely inoffensive, not a huge issue. And then the thing happened with War Machine, and I was enraged. And like you said, the Elimination and I think I've been fair. I think I've given it its due.
I think you've been fair, yeah. I think
the Elimination Chamber match itself was, if you view it solely without any context, it was a good match. The guys before Brock came out, they had a really good back and forth, and then when Brock came out, it was undoubtedly impressive. I mean, I think maybe WWE should have a think about this Elimination Chamber. The pods, should we cover them with something other than cling film?
Yeah.
You know.
They need to make it look a little bit more sturdy, because it doesn't look sturdy.
No, my question is though, where the hell do they go now? So this was an amazing showing for Brock, right? Nobody's saying he is not goddamn superstar, right?
Yeah.
But where do they go now? Brock is a part-timer. Roman Reigns has been the champion for 10,000 years. One of them has to win at WrestleMania. Brock. What happens then? Like, who have they built? Like, they made geeks out of their entire
main card
top tier.
Yeah.
All the people who could challenge for either title, they made absolute geeks out of them.
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar came out and he murdered every single one of them without breaking a goddamn sweat.
Yeah.
Where do they go from here?
As I said, I don't know. Like, WrestleMania is interesting. We're obviously keeping an eye on it. I'm not going to put myself watching Raw and SmackDown week to week. There's 6 weeks from WrestleMania. We'll obviously cover WrestleMania when it happens. But until then, like, I don't know. They've written themselves in a corner here, so it just kind of is what it is. For us, Martin, all I know is next on the docket for us is AEW. That is the next show we're going to be doing, actually, because next week it's going to be Bass at the Beach. That's already done. It's going to be on Phoenix FM. And then the week after that, it's going to be AEW, and then we're back to WCW. So
I cannot tell you how goddamn hyped I am for Revolution. I think it's going to be amazing.
Well, look, I'm looking forward to it too. It's going to be a lot of fun. There's no Cody Rhodes. So
no Cody Rhodes tonight. It's a whole thing we didn't even touch on. Whenever they carted Bobby Lashley off, I was like, this is it. This is where Cody debuts.
You know what? Again, if it had been on American soil, I think it probably would have happened. I would say probably look for it after WrestleMania.
But look, I'll tell you what, will we, because there's a whole world of things to talk about Cody, will we keep that till the Revolution review?
Yeah, we will. We'll keep it until the week after. But Martin, we've run out of time. Thank you to everybody who joined into us on the stream. If this is your first stream, we're streaming again, so we're finally able to do it. You can join us here on YouTube, on Twitch. Also, if you don't catch the streams, we're on Phoenix 92.5 FM, and of course we're on Spotify, Near to No Media. Check it all out there as well. Martin, is there anything you want to say before we get out of here?
No, man, it's great to be doing this stuff live. I hope we get to like interact with people and stuff. I normally have some funny thing to plug or whatever, but just this time I just thought I'd say really cool to be here. I'm really happy to be a part of the Wrestling Rewind. Dara and Dave have been like incredibly kind and welcoming to me, and I'm just very happy to be here. And
happy to have you on.
Punk, fight me.
Exactly. Punk has still not responded, so
3 weeks now.
3 weeks now. But guys, again, if this is your first time checking us out, like, subscribe. That really helps us. If you're on Twitch as well, you can leave comments there as well. This channel is going to be active again. So until next week, it's been the Wrestling Rewind. Bye, guys.
Keep our left.
You have nothing else to do on a Saturday? Do you like nerd things? Now check out Nerd to Know Basis here on Phoenix 92.5 FM, 5 PM to 6 PM, and then head over to nerdtoknowmedia.com for all of our shows as part of the Nerd to Know Media radio network.
Thank you for listening to a Nerd to Know Media production.